So today we're going to talk about Cotoneaster species. Cotoneasters are very common plants. There may be 400 different species in the world, mainly from East Asia, but some from Europe. And they're all small shrubs that grow mainly to about 2 or 3 meters. Most of them are evergreen, but by no means all of them. And the flowers may not be anything tremendous to write home about, but the bees love them. The flowers are either white or pink, and really you've got to wait until the autumn for the full joy of Cotoneasters to come into being. And here we're looking at the very commonest Cotoneaster horizontalis, which is used in shady spots up against a wall, or it's absolutely perfect for covering a bank. This is a very commonly used plant in municipal plantings. And Cotoneasters can be used as hedging plants, they can be used as rockery plants, they can be used as freestanding shrubs in their own right. They have a variety of uses, and in the Burncoose catalogue you'll see some 17 different species and varieties. But first we're going to just look at 4 of the common ones, and what a display Cotoneaster horizontalis is putting on for us today. I've seldom seen it better. So here we get the second of our common and very popular Cotoneasters. This is Cotoneaster franchetii. In our climate it's an evergreen, but in most of the country it would be a semi-evergreen. It'll grow on any soil, and the berries are just emerging and they're going to go a lot more orange than they are yet. But strangely, the birds don't seem to like Cotoneaster franchetii. I have no idea why. This plant self-seeds itself round and about in the garden, so perhaps mice must be carrying off the berries. It was introduced from China in 1895 and is now very well established and popular garden plant that, like all Cotoneasters, will grow on any soil and in more or less any conditions. So here's another common Cotoneaster, Cotoneaster conspicuous. And this is a very long established plant that's probably been here best part of 100 years. It has a very dense habit. It's covered in white flowers in the early summer, and the bees think that's absolutely wonderful and really enjoy it. But it doesn't produce an enormous crop of fruit with us. But the fruits are quite large and bulbous, and they'll get a bit more orange than they are now before they think about dropping off. This is probably a better Cotoneaster as a hedge, or on a boundary hedge or something like that, sort of thing you might see growing in a supermarket car park where litter would be abounding underneath it, but otherwise it'd be doing the job of keeping people off the plants themselves. This is Cotoneaster Exburynsis, which was raised at Exbury Gardens along with its sister seedling, which is called Rothschildianus. And these are much more ornamental garden plants, growing rather larger than the other 3 varieties we've looked at, but certainly a popular variety with, as you can see, the lovely yellow berries just beginning to mature and turn yellow. On Cotoneaster Rothschildianus they get a slight pink tinge to the yellow, but you get that rather later in the season. This is a plant which we've planted here in a clump of 3 to make an impact, and certainly it does that. But when the flowers are out in the early summer, this whole clump is covered in butterflies, particularly speckled wood butterflies, which find it just as attractive in flower as the bees do. So here is a very different species of Cotoneaster, which was discovered in Taiwan by Krug Farm Nurseries in 1996. and thereafter introduced into cultivation. Unlike the other commoner species of Cotoneaster which we've looked at, the berries here are black from a distance and dark purple when you look more closely, in huge trusses. When we look closely, we can see that they're just starting to go a bit squishy, and the seeds are very nearly ripe to collect. This is a shrub with a graceful arching habit and absolutely plastered in berries all over the tree. A really impressive species with very different coloured berries, and one which Burncoose is now able to stock. So this is another species of Cotoneaster which is certainly very impressive at this time of the year. Our plant has seen better days and is growing a fine crop of lichen, but when you look closely you see that we've got enormous scarlet or dark red berries, and even better, we've got red and scarlet tinting in the leaves, and so we've got autumn colour going side by side with these remarkable berries. Although the plant isn't looking terribly well, it is shooting a bit from the base. When we look at a great big seed cluster here, again we can see the seeds are ripe, and I can quite easily extract a seed or two from within the berry, just as a bird would if it was digesting it and carrying the seed away to another part of the garden. This is a fairly short-lived species, one that only grows to 3 or 4 feet, but most impressive in full berry in the autumn. So this is what I think is possibly the best of all the Cotoneaster species, and this is Cotoneaster wilsonii, which was found on an island off the Korean coast, and it's one of the very first to start to fruit, and the fruit are this sort of purplish black colour, ending up, when they're absolutely ripe as this one is, almost black. The branches are quite pendulous. It's not a terribly vigorous variety, and I'm afraid that the pheasants have been eating the berries because this is one of the earliest ones to be ripe, and what we haven't yet seen is the lovely yellow autumn colours that will come and follow the dropping of these berries. Perhaps not tremendously impressive today, but if we'd been here 3 weeks ago, you'd have said this was an absolutely fantastic species. And the final one of the 4 best, as we see them here, of the Cotoneaster species is Cotoneaster hillieri. And this is a small deciduous shrub, and you can see where the pheasants have actually been breaking off the branches as they try and get up to eat the berries. But it is a very, very full berrying variety, lovely great clusters of berries which are already startling red and started a bit orange and have got redder. And are they quite ripe yet? Not quite, despite what the pheasants may think. A very impressive variety and very well worth growing. So we've looked at 4 common Cotoneasters, and we've looked at 4 more unusual species which are very well worth growing and are a great asset to the garden. Remember, they'll grow anywhere on any soil.